Happy hot mic, you filthy animals. Welcome to our final episode of 2023. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by the Sneider himself, Jeff Snyder. How are you doing, dude?
I'm good, Johnny boy!
I need to clarify something here, man. Do you celebrate Christmas? Are you one of these Jews who celebrates Christmas or not? Like, where do you fall on this? I have a few friends who do and a few friends who don't. Where do you fall?
When you say celebrate, I mean, what are we talking about celebrate? Do I bake Jesus a birthday cake? No.
No,
but every Jewish kid wants to celebrate Christmas. There's no Jewish kid who's like, you know what, you can have your Christmas and shove it up your ass. No, we all want to be part of the Christmas experience. I think it's important. Like, I don't want to be alone on Christmas. I want to be around, the people who I love, or in a movie theater. That's the only other substitute. So
doing something you love, if not being surrounded by people you love, which I can totally understand and respect. Well, we hope you all had a wonderful Christmas, had been enjoying. Some of you may have the week off. Hope you're enjoying that. Some of you may have a few days off at least. So we hope you're enjoying that as well. We thank you very much for hanging out with us today on the last episode of 2023. Jeff, we go into 2024 starting on Monday. So going to be exciting stuff to see what's coming for us on the Hot Mic in 2024 for sure. But before we leave 2023, we certainly want to talk about our favorite TV shows of 2023. We want to look forward to what films are coming out in 2024. We're also going to take a look at Michael Mann's filmography and maybe do a draft here or a countdown of our favorite films for Michael Mann's filmography, with Ferrari being out. We'll also have a bit of a mini review on Ferrari, and we'll talk some DC news, some other news that are happening in the world of entertainment, and of course, answering your Streamlabs and your Superchats. Hey, it's the final show of the year, so send in your love, for God's sakes, on Streamlabs and Superchats. Send in your love for the show, appreciation for the show. We will read all of them and respond to them here on the show, so start sending them away. You see the address right above Jeff's head. It's also pinned in the chat and in the description of the video. So, all right, Jeff, let's just jump into some DC stuff here, man. What are you hearing about DC? What do you know? We got new pictures from Joker 2. We got James Gunn coming out debunking some rumors here, saying that we're not going to see Corn Sweat's costume here before they start shooting. Also saying that the branding on both Joker 2 and the Batman 2 will have the Batman 2 will have the Elseworlds. Joker 2 will have the regular WB branding of it all, and also shooting down rumors about certain villains popping up, like Hush and other villains popping up in the Batman 2 or in his universe. So what are your thoughts on all this DC stuff? And are you hearing any more DC stuff yourself?
Well, the first thing I'm hearing, John, is that Superman is spelled with one U. So our viewers want us to know that the title of the video.
Sorry about that, y'all. Me and my aggressive hands. Go ahead. Yes.
Anyway, I mean, what did Gunn shoot down exactly as far as the villains go? I think that he named, there were a few that he specifically named in that tweet, but I don't think he shot down Hush, did he?
Well, I mean, that it wasn't going to be appearing, that they weren't going to be appearing in these specific situations coming up.
Did he shoot down Hush, or I thought he shot down like Professor Pig, whatever the hell it is, or a couple of other like weird ones. But like Clayface and Hush weren't the characters that he
here. Yeah, he cleared as one of the first people. Oh yeah, let's see here. Yeah, Professor Pig, Scarecrow, Clayface, and Hush. These were the rumors that would all be part of the film. Gunn calling the report totally made up. So he called the entire report totally made up, which included Professor Pig, Scarecrow, Clayface, and Hush. I don't think he separated out. I didn't see where he had separated out.
He did.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Guys, somebody needs to bring up this tweet. Let me see.
I'll hunt it while you talk about it. How about that? Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I just I need to know what he said before.
Okay.
We talk about it. So, I mean, let's just.
You're sure he did this, which is what I'm confused about. Okay.
I'm 100% sure. I could have sworn.
Let's see, 0.0.
I'm not on
Okay.
Threads. I mean, the guy doesn't tweet anymore. He's on fucking Threads.
He's on Threads, right? Right. Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't see anything here right now, and I will bring it up. We can look at it together, for God's sakes. Let's share
Poisonous
this.
Plants I'm saying Poisonous Plants is saying the tweet that he responded to did not include Hush or Clayface.
Okay, all right. So maybe that's what it was. I'm taking it off reports here. But yeah, zero. Seeing what the suit looks like before filming in March. 0.0. Talking about security, wise words, all this stuff. No Superman art ever posts into the costumes.
I'm gonna find it, John. What else? What else can we talk about?
Well, what do you think about the new photos from Joker 2 here? Just a couple of photos. Did you see them? You get a chance to see those things?
I mean, it's her outside of the makeup. Yeah, I did see those pictures. I think Lady Gaga is beautiful.
Sure.
But yeah, what am I supposed to say about these photos? I mean, I'm not a fan of first look photos in general.
Okay. All right. So that did nothing to you. Do you like that Gunn is not showing the Superman outfit before he starts shooting Superman? Are you a fan of that? Do you think you should show it to kind of calm some people down?
Okay. So this is technically what it was, by the way. It was the play blend. It said Professor Pig and Scarecrow are set to join Clayface, Hush, and Dick Grayson in Batman Part 2. Right. And so James Gunn says, nope, totally made up. So is in response to the headline, which is about Professor Pig and Scarecrow. I don't think that he's dismissing.
So he didn't parse it out, though. That's up to your interpretation.
I mean, you're right. He did not individually name characters, but to me, he's responding specifically to a story about two characters.
Right. But he's saying completely made up in his response, completely made up the story. Even though, but it doesn't go well. Some of that, like, remember what he said when rumors were coming out about his DC universe and people were reporting what he was, before you went to that event there where he laid out what he was going to do. He said some of it's true, some of it isn't. And he did not do that with this. He said this is.
Here's the question. If you're Matt Reeves, do you even want James Gunn responding to rumors about your movie?
100%. I do not want James Gunn responding to any rumors about my movie. And this is something we talked about way at the beginning when James Gunn took over, Jeff. Is he consulting with these filmmakers or is he going on his own to protect his universe? Even though Matt Reeves technically outside of his universe, but he's still in control of DC completely with Safran. So is this him going out on his own, or do you think he checked with Reeves before he responded?
The whole thing is very confusing to me because Matt Reeves was obviously brought in and hired way earlier, right? Way before Gunn got there. And so it's like, does his contract give him control of Batman, or is it just, just his Elseworlds kind of movie, like that, and that allows Gunn to go and do things like Brave and the Bold or whatever the fuck it's called.
Well, I want to respond to this real quick. Trisha Fire said, he said like 2 weeks ago that there wasn't even a script for part 2 yet. No. That's not what he said. He said the script hasn't been turned in. They've definitely been working on a script. It's not like there's a blank piece of paper and a Word doc with a cursor blinking. There's definitely
No. Yeah. Reeves has probably been writing since the last one, hit theaters basically. But
exactly.
You're right. It's like if he hasn't turned in the script, then like.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, does James? I just want directors to speak for their own movies.
I agree with that.
But I guess if you're James Gunn and you're the head of the studio, you get to speak for everything. I just think James Gunn needs to get off social media. I've reached out to people who are familiar with the situation. They're like, listen, nobody's going to tell James Gunn what to do. James Gunn is going to James Gunn. But it's like, why? You don't see anyone else doing this. No other studio heads are like this.
Yeah, I mean,
for a reason.
It would just seem, they do it through interviews, right? Like Feige gets all his possible tweets out in interviews when he was responding to questions, when he's going in on certain things about Marvel. He does not go on social media and respond back and forth and say yes or no. I think it's such an odd approach. And look, maybe he thinks, no, I know what I'm doing. Everyone else is an idiot. I'll figure this out. It'll be fine. But there's so many pitfalls and landmines in doing this that I think is dangerous. And look, he can say all he wants, but Matt Reeves is the one who had a successful DC film in the Batman. The Suicide Squad wasn't that successful financially. You may like it quality-wise, you may enjoy it, but it wasn't that successful financially. So I'd argue Matt Reeves has even more cachet to be like, hey, man, don't talk about my movie. It's not your business. I'm not under your universe. Don't talk about my villains. Don't even respond to any of this stuff.
Right. It's like if Matt Reeves, and he has social media, like if he wanted to respond, I think he'd find a way to respond. And so, yeah, if that's his strategy, right? Matt Reeves is, I just don't respond to any of this stuff. Then why doesn't James Gunn adopt that same strategy almost in solidarity with his filmmakers? It's very curious, the whole situation. And again, like you said, when James Gunn took this job, that is what we speculated. Like, this is a filmmaker who's now telling other filmmakers what to do with their movies, and how is that going to go over?
Yeah. And is Matt Reeves going, dude, why did you respond to this? And James going, Matt, I I know what I'm doing. And then Matt's got to be like, well, I guess I can't say anything because you run the studio, right? I run DC right now. Yeah.
I think you're just opening it up to like, well, he responded to this, didn't respond to this. That means this is true or this is not true. Or it's just like, you just have a sort of blanket policy. I don't know. Or, I mean, I think it'd be in James's best interest to not do that stuff on social media. But I also acknowledge that like he only has a career because of social media, because social media rescued him, basically.
It's true. It's true.
To make him look at it like that.
Two things, and here's a clarification. Here's what we mean, right? Poisonous Plants 15 saying he was clearly responding to Professor Pig and Scarecrow, right? And someone else says Poisonous Plant, the whole thing was a statement. So you get the back and forth because it was not clear in any way, shape, or form. He was responding to the whole report. So he didn't delineate, he didn't say which one is in, which one isn't. And also the Robin and Hush thing. The last thing you want is for James Gunn to backdoor confirm the characters and villains that are in your movie before you announce that they're in there. I don't give a fuck about reports.
I don't get the upside.
Reports, right?
I don't get the upside of this other than like, is it a sort of elbow at Daniel, to be like, hey, this guy's got 300,000 Twitter followers and just breaking news, a lot of news that maybe studios don't want out there. Like, is this like he's not always right about everything? I don't know. I think he, and Daniel owned up to it, which I think was the right thing. I give him credit for. And he's right. We have all been there, so I think he's proven himself to be a pretty reliable source of information, even if some of these grids, because he alluded to the grid, right? He referred to the grid. That was sort of the secret sauce early in my career. But the grids are like the answers to the test. But if you don't know, like if you wouldn't know the answers yourself, how do you know that those answers are correct? That's why a reporter at a trade, when you get your hands on a grid, has to fact check that grid.
Right.
And make sure the shit's in it is accurate. But they're just like the Glengarry leads in a sense. You can't just publish straight from the grid to the internet. That is dicey.
Yeah. But you don't get these leads because to give them to you would be to give them away. So it's an interesting situation there when you look at what Daniel RPK is doing. And of course, shout out to him. He, like you said, most of the time he's right. It's great to see for sure. All right. Any more DC stuff you want to get into, Jeff? Any more DC stuff that that you've seen, that you've heard? Anything in the horizon that you can tease our viewers with? Anything at all?
Not really, but like,
okay.
I mean, I think there's the who's going to be Rob, who's going to play these characters, right?
Right.
There's always that conversation that's kind of interesting. And so, who is it? It's Dick Grayson, Hush, and who is the other one?
What with Robin? What do you mean? Oh yeah, Dick Grayson. Oh yeah. Keep going. Just keep going about it. So go, keep going. I'll find it real quick.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
It was like who could play like Hush? Who would make like just a good serial killer?
Yeah. Who's also grew up with Bruce Wayne and is his friend. So you have to be
so Pattinson's age. Right, exactly. Pattinson's age, and I mean, I'm told that like Hush like takes his identity kind of at one point. So like you'd kind of have to almost look like Pattinson a little bit, but I don't know if that's entirely necessary. I don't know if that's where Matt Reeves is sort of taking things. But like, who would be a Pattinson semi-contemporary who you would cast as a serial killer?
Taylor Lautner, paging Taylor Lautner. Let's bring back the whole thing, baby boy. Let's get Taylor Lautner in there. Let's bring Kristen Stewart in as a second Catwoman. Let's go. No, I don't know who you'd bring. I mean, who is a good? I mean, you've already used Barry Keoghan, even which is a shame because you don't know because clearly they're not gonna. It seems like they're not dialing into that with a Joker story in the next film, so you have to put him on ice for now. What's Jacob Elordi doing, man? What's Jacob Elordi doing?
He just played a serial killer. Okay. And Penn Badgley's a serial killer on You, and Bill Skarsgård was a serial killer in It. And I'm just going by people in the chat. So here's what I'm here's where I'm going with this.
Go ahead, please. Yeah.
Who do you remember who the original rumors were for the Riddler in the Batman? There were two actors in particular, and they have shared the screen many times before.
No, I don't remember. I don't remember who was it.
Okay, those two actors who were rumored, and it was like, oh, there's Penguin, or there's all kinds of stuff. It was Seth Rogen and it was Jonah Hill. Okay. So Seth Rogen and Jonah Hill, and then there's a third person who I think is perhaps even more interesting than both of them.
Okay.
Because he is a Seth Rogen compatriot as well, and he's a star of a Big Apple series.
Okay.
Jason Segel.
What are you doing?
What I'm going with is I think if they're casting a Pattinson guy who's 30 to 40 or whatever, Rogen, Hill, Segel, like these are the guys I'd be looking at
to play serial killers, to play
to go against type and play villains in the Batman universe. Yes, that's what I'm going with.
Oh, I think you're an insane person, and I cannot agree with you. Yeah, well, look, Pattinson's 37. So I was ready. I thought he was like 31, 32. He's 37. Segel is 43. Could be interesting. I don't know if I like the Jonah
size. Segel's size makes him interesting.
Sure. The Jonah Hill, I don't know. He's closer in age. I don't know if Seth. I mean, didn't we do Green Hornet? I feel like Seth should stay away from all superhero films for the rest of time. He's 41, so closer in age to Pattinson. So 4 years. So yeah, I guess you could argue there.
Obviously, maybe the third guy on that list, but I'm just saying a big comic actor like someone like that doing like a really dark turn, even and there's So fuck, I don't want to let this rumor out yet. Fuck.
Go ahead.
This isn't a rumor. Fuck. God damn it. What do I want to do here? Shit. Okay. I'm not gonna name any. I'm gonna say the actor. I'm gonna name the actor. The person I would really love to see play a serial killer is Michael Cera.
Ooh, interesting. And behind the scenes, some people have been quite vocal in how they feel about Michael Cera as a person and some of the ways he's treated certain people. So you could parlay that into a character like this that could be a villain. Maybe Michael Cera, who occasionally has had villain tendencies in some of his leading characters, could be an interesting choice to make here.
Coming off of like Barbie, like at Warner Brothers also.
Yeah. With Alan, his character, yeah.
It's like, geez, like everybody, like people like Michael Cera as Alan, but like, wouldn't he? I don't know. If you're Michael Cera, do you want to do something completely fucking different and just like really get dark? That would be fucking fascinating to me.
Could be. I like Clarissa's suggestion, Jamie Dornan. That seems like a contemporary, a blue blood, just like Bruce Wayne, who goes evil, got the jaw, got the look, he's got the pedigree as an actor. That could be really interesting. But I hear you on the other one. I hear you. Why not Bill Hader, who just did Barry 4 seasons of Barry that went super?
Hader would be good.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like a big comic actor, someone known for light stuff and comedy, going dark. Yeah, that could be interesting for Hush.
What about Zachary Levi? Is there a way to redeem it? Anyway,
Jamie Dornan, though, just to like back it up.
I like Jamie.
Like I told you, he auditioned for Mr. Fantastic, right? It was him and Chris Abbott. Chris Abbott just got Wolfman, right?
Right.
Jamie Dornan's going to get something really big.
He's got to. Yeah. He's got to, for God's sakes. Yeah. I like that idea. Okay. What else should we hit on DC, man? Anything you're hearing in the rumor mills?
That's it for DC.
That's all you got? Okay. All right. So, what can I say this? How can I say this? how can I say this? All right. So this is not approved by Jeff Sneider in any way, shape, or form.
Oh boy, here's the surprise scoop from Rocha.
This is Rocha going off the rails. I hear from a couple of my sources that although this is not official, that apparently the Batman Part 2 script was officially turned in before Christmas. And the stories you've heard about certain people being a part of the film, half true, half not true, is what I'm hearing. And that they're using Batman Earth 1 as a little bit of the foundation for this particular film. And this person still doesn't know if Harvey Dent is going to be a part of the movie or not. So that's what I'm hearing from the sources that I have. And it's going to be very much dealing with the high society, very much like a conversation about the elites versus the haves versus the have-nots within the story, which I think is about time because they kind of teased that in the first Batman movie. So I would not be surprised if in the Batman 2, they go deeper into that as we see nowadays people questioning that in our own society and the gap in wealth between the haves and the have-nots. So it could be very interesting if they go down that route. So I'm just going to throw that out there. I say it's not much of a scoop, but just saying it might be there. So yeah, there you go. So,
Okay.
but I have no official confirmation for any of that. So there you go. All right. What else? Oh yeah, Aquaman 2. Jeff, Aquaman 2 right now, 150 million worldwide. Yes, we want to crap on the movie, but there is a possibility that it may be the highest grossing DC movie of the year. And did you really think you were going to have that be the result of this movie when The Flash was so heralded, when Black Adam seemed like it was with the Henry Cavill?
Everyone thought that Aquaman would be the biggest DC movie of the year. Absolutely, no question. Absolutely.
Nobody thought that. You're such a
what? It was $1 billion. The first one made $1 billion.
Everybody thought The Flash was going to be an explosive and huge film. Coming out of CinemaCon, everybody thought that thing was going to hit like $1 billion, man.
So people thought, oh my God, The Flash could hit $1 billion. Aquaman did.
The first one did. Yes, not this one.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't just nah. I mean, I was very confident Aquaman would be the biggest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
All right. After all that Ezra Miller shit, yeah, people liked Aquaman. They liked Momoa in that character, of course. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but as soon as it was announced that they were moving on from that DC universe, then it was pretty much a lame duck, you know.
So was The Flash.
Well, I don't know. They never announced that he wasn't going to come back as the
Flash.
Flash
Is a good movie. Is at least like a decent movie.
I agree. It is a decent movie. It's better than Aquaman 2, in my opinion. What do you think about this? They're starting to ask these directors about superhero fatigue. They even asked of all people. Are you eating on camera again?
No.
I'm sorry, Guillermo. Snyder was asked about the idea of superhero fatigue, and he says, yeah, I have the same fatigue. He thinks the comic book adaptations are a, quote, cul-de-sac now, and no longer interested in telling self-contained stories. There's no one thinks they're going to a one-off superhero movie anymore. But then in the same interview, and he was talking, who's he talking to here? I was just having an interview here, and he speaking with The Atlantic. He said about James Bond. Now, you want to make James Bond fans' heads explode? Tell them that Zack Snyder commented on it and said it'd be cool to see like a 20-year-old James Bond, the humble roots that he comes from, whatever trauma of youth that makes you be able to be James Bond. There has to be something there. Now, Jeff, there is a 1 in a million show, reality show that's out right now on Prime Video. We know that Prime Video owns the James Bond rights. We've speculated on this show that they could do a young James Bond series. Is this Zack Snyder just like pushing the door a little bit open and throwing his small hat in the ring to maybe be considered for a young James Bond series as either showrunner or director? I guess he would be showrunner and the director. What are your thoughts on this?
Normally, I would dismiss this immediately. Okay. However, if you're Zack Snyder, I would be flirting with Amazon.
Oh yeah,
because those Netflix numbers, not good. Those are not good numbers. I don't care how the trades spin it. 23.9.
That's what. Yeah, let's move into that. Yeah, 23.9 million viewers from over its 3-day opening weekend. It did pass Leave the World Behind, which had 100 million views today, but it's like the 4th or 5th on the list there of films that were watched on Netflix here. Extraction.
Yes, I'm getting it. I'm getting into it tonight in my newsletter. Actually, I have a whole thing coming about this. Because it does, but it's like I get from their perspective. This is what I would say if I was Zack Snyder, right?
Yeah.
I made these movies for $166 million. So each one, we'll say costs $83 million.
Right.
So if you double it, right, which is like how much Netflix has been paying for fucking big movies lately, right? If you double it to 166, then double the views, right? Because the same 23.9 who watch part 1 will watch part 2. Maybe you'll get more people because now it's an IP people are like familiar with. Or maybe you'll get less because apparently it wasn't very good and maybe fewer people will watch part 2. But either way, let's just double it. Right. So you're at now 47.8, right? You're basically at 48 million people. Right. And then it's a lot more respectable when you compare it to Heart of Stone, which only cost $16 million less.
Right.
150 million compared to the 166 for Rebel Moon. So it's like that's how I'm going to look at it in the newsletter tonight. Please subscribe. And but it's like there's a whole bunch of factors that like Netflix can make a hit by flipping a button.
Yes.
Right? They can make Rebel Moon autoplay after every single TV show and movie that you watch on the service, no matter what it is.
Good point. If you haven't turned that off, that's right. Yeah.
Rebel Moon can automatically start playing. So, like, literally, if they need to goose numbers, then they will. I just don't think that this is what they were expecting. I think this is a little low, and we'll see how the second week numbers are, as more people sort of find their way to it.
Yeah, let's take a look at these numbers right now. I'm going to share the Forbes article on this. Here are the numbers, just to give you guys a little comparison. Murder Mystery 2, 42.9 million. Sandler can put butts in couch seats for sure. And I liked Murder Mystery 2. It was fun. The Mother at 42.9 million. Extraction 2, which I really loved, at 42.8 million. Leave the World Behind at 41.7 million. Heart of Stone, 33. You People at 28. The Killer almost at 28 at 27. What at Your Place or Mine, 27.7. Then Rebel Moon, 23.9. Then The Pale Blue Eye, which was the Christian Bale movie there. Then The Outlaws. We have Ghost, Reptile, Chupa, and Love at First Sight. So ninth here. That's not a great number when you're looking at Netflix. Yeah.
So here's the other thing that I will say in Zack Snyder's defense. Bring that list up again.
They're right there.
Go through the stars of those movies.
Murder Mystery 2, Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. I don't know the mother. Which one's the mother?
Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, yeah. Extraction 2.
Chris Hemsworth, then Julia Roberts, then Gal Gadot, then Eddie Murphy. So, like, Rebel Moon does not have a comparable star. It doesn't have a movie star.
Zack Snyder's the star.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly, Rogan. That is why I feel like the what is the most fair comparison on this list?
Ooh, I don't know. Who's the director? Which one?
I think you definitely know. Go through the list of directors. Just go down the list.
Don't know.
Exactly. That's fine. Keep going. Yeah. I don't know. Keep going.
Extraction 2, isn't that?
No. Do you give a shit? Keep going.
No. Heart of Stone. I don't remember who directed that. You People. I don't remember who directed that. The Killer. Oh, The Killer. Yeah, it would be
exactly.
Yeah, right.
That is the comparable thing. Okay. Now, when you do that, I don't know how much The Killer costs. At first, I thought, well, there's no fucking way that The Killer costs more than Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
But if you Google The Killer budget somewhere on the internet, it says it costs $175 million, which is fucking mind blowing.
Yeah,
but also not that mind blowing because it's Fincher, and Fincher runs expensive.
He does,
and he did a million fucking takes for this shit. So it's like if it is 175, is that extra 9 million more than Rebel Moon worth the extra 4 million views? Like I think it is. It's just like there's a million different ways to parse this information. That's what I'm going to attempt to do tonight.
Well, I think the mistake is that, and we said this from the beginning with Rebel Moon, there's no star. And yes, Zack Snyder is the star, but he's a divisive star, right? I mean, Fincher is a guy that pretty much universally loved amongst the art house crowd and amongst the mainstream film crowd. Zack is absolutely a mainstream filmmaker. There's nobody from Vox or IndieWire falling all over themselves to love Zack Snyder movies. There's a difference in the approach. So what Zack could have done is found himself a name star to be the star of this thing and go forward. Yes, people know Sofia Boutella, of course, but she's not a leading
That's not
lady.
what I mean. Right. Yes, people know her. She's the mummy, and she's in Star Trek, and she's in like big shit. But like, do people know her by name? Is she going to be on the cover of the fucking tabloid checkout? At the supermarket? Like, do people click to watch the new Sofia Boutella movie? Give me a fucking break. No, they don't.
Yeah, you could have even gotten away with it if you went with a name villain, right? Ed Skrein, certainly a good actor, certainly in a number of franchises, Deadpool, what have you, but not really that well known. And even the rest of the crew, there's not really
Charlie Hunnam's the best well-known one.
Who? Say it again.
Charlie Hunnam.
Charlie Hunnam. Well, I think Jummin Hunsu is more well-known than Charlie, but either way, it's comparable in terms of knowledge, right? So I think this is where Zack got bit, is that there wasn't a star here to combine with his star. And if you find, because he's so divisive, if you find somebody who isn't divisive, who's universally beloved to lead your project, I think more people would have watched that, so. But, I'm sure I'll read your analysis and find a lot of value in that. You guys should go and subscribe. Where can they subscribe, Jeff, to your newsletter?
TheInsnider.com.
There you go. All right, we're at 31 minutes. Let's take a quick break. We'll answer some of your Streamlabs and Super Chats and send them in as we go along through the show here right after this. All right, let's jump into it, Jeff. Here's some of these Streamlabs and Super Chats from people. Here is Megatube99 saying, thoughts on the trailer for American Society of Magical Negroes? Personally, I think it's blatant racism. Megatube, first of all, you can say Negro. You're allowed to say Negro. No one's going to shoot you for saying Negro. Second of all, it's not blatant racism. It's a commentary on a certain point of view that numerous people within the Black community have expressed, which is this idea of how Black people have to act a certain way around certain white people because of how it can lead to something negative in society. And that has happened. Hello, that has happened. They aren't saying it's the entire truth. Everybody's like this. It's a commentary on it, and it's done in a way that's lighthearted. And the trailer has a love story in it, which makes it more interesting. So it's not just sitting and going, white people. It's saying, hey, white people, but also this, and also let's learn something. And if you watch the trailer, by the end, it looks like he is going to shatter what they're doing there and maybe give them a different perspective going forward. So give the film a chance before you run around with this nonsense. Your thoughts here, Joe?
I mean, it's a curious title. I mean, it's designed to stir up these kinds of conversations and controversies and generate ink because it's an eye grabber.
Yeah.
But I do think, that like it may feel weird. People may feel weird like ordering a ticket for, especially going up to like the booth and ordering a ticket for this. It's certainly not racist. It's like again, I don't think people understand what the word racist means. It means to deny someone an opportunity, basically, or discriminate against them based on the color of their skin. So I don't think that is what this movie is doing. I don't see how movies can even be racist.
Well, I don't know about that. Birth of a Nation, pretty racist, but I do like that it's a comedic approach to it. All right, it's
these days movies.
It's couching it in a comedic approach, and I like the guy from Dungeons and Dragons being the lead, and I like the David. I mean, we're in kind of a David Alan Grier renaissance, wouldn't you say? I mean, with Color Purple and this movie, a couple other things. David Alan Grier coming back into our eyesight.
Candy Cane Lane.
I liked him in that as well. Yeah. Good movie. I'll say that. All right, let's see. Jonathan Beck says, question for Jeff. I heard rumbling Superman Legacy will be shot entirely in IMAX with plans to have an exclusive IMAX release for the film. Does that pass your smell test?
No. No, definitely not. There aren't enough IMAX screens to generate. You would need the IMAX screens for like 9 months or something to generate the kind of money that you could just generate in regular theaters. So no, I don't. It could be shot entirely in IMAX, but it doesn't mean it'll go out entirely in IMAX.
Right. In no way is Tom Cruise going to let you have 9 months of IMAX without him having a say about it. For God's sakes, he's not going to let you do that.
But here's what I will say about Superman Legacy. Okay, and this is also something I'm going to put in the newsletter at some point. And this is like, okay, if I am Warner Brothers Discovery, this is not like a thing that the rest of the country cares about. It's a thing for Los Angeles. If I am Warner Brothers Discovery, I do everything in my power to make Superman Legacy the opening of the ArcLight Cinema.
Ooh, that's a great point.
The reopening of ArcLight Hollywood. You open that up in summer 2025 with Superman Legacy.
I like the idea.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So I'm saying if like they're ready to open in April, Warner Brothers is like, we will pay you to fucking stay closed until July.
Fair point. I can see that. Kaiser Soze says, I felt Riddler was portrayed a lot like Hush. His costume in particular, almost like Reeves wanted Hush, but used Riddler's famous name. Could feel repetitive. Thanks for doing this show. Nothing else like it with scoops.
It could feel repetitive, but I mean, that doesn't prevent the fact that nonetheless, I'm still hearing Hush.
Yeah. And let me see. Dateline has made a cottage industry out of following killers, and though they may seem similar, people still tune in every week. So it's okay to be similar if you do it unique.
Exactly. If you're Warner Brothers, like, you want to take a lot of risks right now? You want to just do kind of what worked in the first movie. Batman fights a serial killer, and it can be improved. There is room for improvement. Yeah. I mean, I thought Dana was great, and I liked the first like hour and a half of the Batman, but I didn't care for the third act really. I think that there are ways to take it. I certainly wasn't expecting the Riddler to be like that, so maybe Hush will be like something very different too.
Could be, yeah. Let's hit a few of these Streamlabs, and ladies and gentlemen, just pinned it in the chat. Please make sure you send in your support, send in your love here. Streamlabs and Super Chats, our final show here in 2023. I am Two Fly Cam says, Happy 2024. Wishing everyone a happy and healthy new year. That being said, let's all pray for Star Wars. Let's all pray that Star Wars reschedules the Rey movie into oblivion like every other movie. Jesus, I don't understand. I am Two Fly Cam. Why would you want? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with the Rey movie? I don't understand it. Daisy Ridley did a wonderful job in those 3 films, and I think she gets unfairly maligned by a lot of people. And I get it. Her career post Star Wars hasn't been full of hits or whatever, but she's a goddamn good actress. And remember, she was 26 when she took the fucking role on with 8 separate guest stars as in 8 separate episodes of British television. She wasn't some big name star and took on this massive franchise and went toe to toe with Adam Driver. So people want to smash her or destroy her or push her down or push away Star Wars movies. I just don't understand it. You should be worried about your fucking Seahawks not blowing it and getting into the NFL playoffs more than Star Wars. You want to talk about a franchise that maybe should be rescheduled into oblivion and get a new quarterback. By the way, here Russell Wilson still is available again.
We have some breaking news on the show.
Okay, go ahead. Yes, break it down.
We have some breaking news, people. This is from President Barack Obama. This is very serious.
Here we go.
Update. This is an update. I just saw The Color Purple and loved it. I'm adding it to my list as one of my favorite movies this year. Wow, Obama giving into that peer pressure. How does Ava DuVernay feel right now? Origin still being left off the list. We'll see if Neon gets President Obama a screener of that movie, and if he will be back to update us at another time.
If anybody connected to President Obama needs a screener for Origin, I will gladly send you my Neon package in the mail to you for you to watch it, Mr. President. Yes, he's the best. All right, let's move on here, Jeff. A couple more of these. Gentleman Science says, happy holiday, Hot Mike. My Jewish family watched Feast of the Seven Fishes on Christmas Eve. What did you think of it? Reminded me of the Bears episode. Should Seven Fishes be its own genre? I don't know what this is, Jeff. What is Feast of the Seven Fishes? Do you know?
Feast, it's like an indie movie. Okay. I forget who's in it. There's like 1 or 2 recognizable stars, maybe. Okay. Shit, I'm totally blanking on who's in it. But yeah, I have heard of it's like a tradition, right? Among you people.
What is you people? Who is you people?
Christians, Catholics,
Oh,
non-Jews, the Goyim.
the Chaim. Is this is this the one from 2019? The slice of life story?
Italians do it, you know. I
Yeah,
actually think it's for Italians. Italians do the Feast of the Seven Fishes. Excuse me. So it's not just Christians or Catholics. It's Italians do this feast, and
Gotcha.
I mean, I know the Jews and the Italians were very similar. Is it its own genre? No, and I've never partaken in it. I don't eat fish. I've never had fish, despite being from New England.
What? That's madness. Wow. Yeah, Skylar Gassando is the lead of this one, who of course is now going to be Jimmy Olsen.
That's who it is. I love that kid.
Paul Ben Victor is in this thing. Joey Pants is in this. Addison Timlin, who I like, is in this as an actress. Written and directed by Robert Tinnell, who still working.
If you send me a copy of that movie, I would watch that movie. I love Skylar, you know, but like it's got to find its way to me.
All right. Aaron Smith says, since Evil Dead Rise seemed to be a box office success, should we expect to have to wait another 10 years for the next movie? I think a movie set 60 years before the originals would be super sick. Happy New Year's, fellas. Yeah, Jeff, we had that scene in the movie where they played the record of what happened years before in that ceremony. So do you think we could go 60 years back and still make it work?
What are we talking about?
Evil Dead Rise?
Oh. So a movie, an Evil Dead movie set 60 years prior.
Yeah, to the one we just got.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see you do it during the Summer of Love. That would be cool.
You want to see a bunch of hippies get terrorized? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that sounds fucking amazing.
All right, fine. Let's see. And I agree that we should. I think it'd be great to go 60 years before, because then you could really kind of dial into them even more of the horror that is not held back by some of the technological stuff that horror can sometimes hold horror back. That'd be cool. Puerto Geekin, I love that's genius, said, Happy New Year. Last episode, you were wondering which DC character Reacher's Alan Ritchson could play in the new DCU. How about the Authority's Midnighter? Oh, shit. FYI, he has played DC heroes before, Aquaman and Smallville, and Hawk and Titans. Cheers. Yeah, we clarified that last episode as well. Isn't the Midnighter, isn't he the Authority's version of the Batman, and isn't he gay? So that could be a really interesting way to have Ritchson play a Batman-like character, but also explore the idea of putting a homosexual relationship right there on screen, a gay relationship right there on screen. And who's going to tell Alan Ritchson that he can't do that on screen? Go ahead. Who wants to be the first in line to tell him that? So I like the idea. What do you think, Joe?
This is Alan Ritchson. Again, Alan Ritchson as what?
As the Midnighter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, Warner Brothers, listen, every studio should be trying to get in the Alan Ritchson business.
I agree.
I mean, I think this guy's going to be huge. In fact, my brother, who's maybe watching the show right now, we had a pitch because I think we talked about how, you know, like Alan Ritchson should do like a remake of Big or something like that.
Oh, yeah, you talked about that.
John, my brother was like, we should call it Huge. Right? It's about a little boy who he gets bullied, right? He's getting bullied at school. He doesn't want to be big like Josh Baskin wants to be. He wants to be huge, and he grows up to be fucking Alan.
Huge.
That's a movie pitch.
I suppose it could work. It could work, seeing it like, because then you get what you wanted, but you don't know what it's like to live in a body like that. How much a body like that has to eat. That's one of the unbelievable things about Reacher is that when he talks about, oh, I just eat whenever I can. To maintain a body that size at that height, he'd be eating 6 times a day, multiple meals per meal, for God's sake. So that's the only disbelieving thing in that series. All right, let's see one more, and then we'll move on. Let's see. Gentleman Scientist says, Jeff, have you heard anything about Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn series being adapted for film or television? He's hinted at it for years, and considering he blew the Kickstarter record away, 181,000 backers for 41.7 million. Jesus, I think he'd have the audience. Jeff, have you heard anything?
What? Someone raised $40 million to make a movie on Kickstarter? Really?
Yeah, based on their own series that they wrote.
Okay. Well, I'm not familiar with this guy or the series.
Okay. All right. I'd love to see it.
What was his name again?
Brandon Sanderson. The Mistborn series. Brandon Sanderson. So there you go.
I don't know what that is.
Okay. Samuel says, any update on Mickey 13? We haven't seen a trailer yet. Plus, it's coming out weeks. It comes out the weeks of Dune Part 2. Will Warner Brothers delay it? This is the Bong Joon-ho one, right? With Robert Pattinson.
The answer is yes.
They will delay it.
Yes. It'll because it's gonna debut at Cannes probably. Right.
Yeah, I think so too.
It ain't coming out before Cannes. It'll probably get pushed to the fall. I wouldn't be surprised if it got moved to like September or something.
And just clarify, it's Mickey 17, not Mickey 13. So just letting you all know. All right, Jeff.
Who gives a shit what it's called? The book is called Mickey 7, right?
Mickey Gabagool. All right, Jeff. What do you want to talk about? I've been tossing out all the stories. What's on?
Let's do the Michael Mann thing because you wanted to. You saw Ferrari and you did not like it.
Did not. What a massive. Okay. It's a massive disappointment of a movie. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes, but at no point does it explain what's going on, show you what's going on. Like the way they wrote these characters, they're supremely underdeveloped. You have to have watched like 10 documentaries on Ferrari and this whole thing to understand the scope and the weight of what's happening, why this is imperative, the relationship between him and Penelope Cruz. It is so far down the line already that you're having to play catch up. And Shailene Woodley is horribly miscast in the role that she's playing. And I thought Adam Driver did what Adam Driver does, but it wasn't a particularly spectacular performance. As Jeff said, Penelope Cruz had the best scenes in the movie. But by the time we get to the final race and everything that happens there, I couldn't give a shit. I really couldn't. It's so distant, so aloof. The editing is so choppy and smashing tones together. And I thought Mann's direction was messy, and I thought the script was all over the place with underdeveloped characters so that you don't care about anybody by the end. So when shit happens and the big crash happens, and if you know the story, what happens at that crash, you actually don't care. And the terrible CGI of what happens to those bodies in that crash, you're like, wow, this is laughable. So this is a phenomenal miss for me from Michael Mann, a director I love and respect.
I thought I liked some of the racing scenes, which were obviously shot really well by Eric Messerschmidt, I believe, who also shot The Killer. Talented cinematographer, but like you're right, that crash sequence, didn't like it. Didn't like the tone of it. It didn't fit with the movie. Didn't like the way it was filmed. Didn't like the music. Like he goes back to the same music from The Insider. The same music. The stuff with Penelope is what worked for me. I was absorbed by their relationship, and you're right. Driver, he's fine. It's the same thing in Gucci, where it's like it's literally the same thing. He's but at least fine. Can't we just hire someone who's age appropriate or something? Like this is weird.
At least with Gucci, there were swings. There were like changes of emotion. There was something for him to play. In this, it was yelling or quiet menace. There's no difference.
Class is not fast enough. My car's that must be the best. And Shane, dude, who is cheating on fucking Penelope Cruz with Shailene Woodley? This must be the hardest thing for me to believe in all of movies. Who is cheating on Penelope Cruz?
Listen, I can't disagree with you. I mean, to be fair, the Mutt Lange cheating on Shania Twain with a woman who looks supremely way less attractive than Shania Twain. It does happen, by the way. It does happen, but it's so unbelievable when you see it on screen. And I just think, I don't know if Woodley's background is Italian, but like you can't find an Italian actress that could play that role.
She's miscast, right? She's just so miscast here. I do agree with the commenters. But she has international value, and that's ultimately how these movies get made from these auteurs these days. Is that they got to go find financing elsewhere. There was a report that there was a bidding war for this movie, and it went to Neon for $15 million. It cost like $95 million, something crazy like that. They only recoup a certain portion of the budget through the U.S. sale of the rights. This movie's just way too expensive. I mean, they were talking about putting it on Showtime, basically.
Yeah.
Because they do, like, we don't have the money to pay for the marketing for this. Like, this is only digging the hole deeper. There's no, like, and it has flopped in theaters. I mean, I get why Michael Mann would go back to, like, the Heat well, and it's like, yeah, we're doing Heat 2 next and all that, but like, I don't know, man. If I'm Warner Brothers, you gotta deliver some A-list cast on the platter for that one, because I ain't writing that check.
Well, I think at the end, I think that's what, when you look at, I think this is why he went back to the Heat too well, because he knows his film isn't 100% great. Isn't being well received. I had a couple of people respond to me who were at film festivals in their local area where this film was the surprise film, and it was pretty much universally not liked by people who were at these film festivals and had to sit through this film. Yeah.
It's dark and depressing. I mean, you look at the movies that win the audience award, particularly in Toronto, like American Fiction. Even Green Book, which, you know, I know has its detractors, but like Green Book makes people feel good at the end of the day. That's why it won Best Picture. And yeah, this is not a feel-good movie. And it's like, who gives, you know, Ferrari's going to fucking, like, the company will survive. It's still around today. Who gives a shit what happens with the kid and whether this kid has like a future or takes the guy's last name or gets a job at the corporation? It's just like, I don't know, like I don't know what like people find so fascinating about these guys, where it's like, it needs to be a movie. Like, you can be fascinated with Howard Hughes, but like,
The Aviator.
Is there a huge audience out there for $100 million Howard Hughes movie these days? No. You couldn't make The Aviator today at that budget.
Let me ask you two questions about connected to this. And I know we got to get to the Michael Mann thing, but two questions real quick. One, do you think I'm off base in saying that 2023 was a year of some of these well-known legendary filmmakers and an excellent filmmaker underwhelming us with their releases, like Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon from Michael Mann, from Ridley Scott, Cooper's Maestro is getting destroyed on social media by a number of critics, and now here comes Mann's Ferrari, which is supremely underwhelming.
You cannot put Bradley in that category, first of all, but maybe there is something to Tarantino's theory where it's like, you know, you do your best work as a younger man.
I agree with that.
There are exceptions to that rule, and Wolf of Wall Street came out when Scorsese was like 75 or something like that. But like, you know, do I think that Killers and The Irishman are not great enough from considering the expectations? No.
Yeah. I mean, and look, I like The Killer, but you know, hardly anybody is talking about that for any awards from Fincher. And
he's not an awards guy. He's never, I mean, other than The Social Network and Curious Case of Benjamin Button, but like, he's not an awards guy.
Yeah, fair. Oh, and does this kind of reaffirm that Adam Driver may not be a movie star? I mean, he's an A-lister, but he's not putting butts in seats, is he? I mean, do we need to look at and don't give me Star Wars. That's a fucking ensemble film. Is he, what's your thoughts here, Jeff?
I mean, no, he can anchor a movie, but is he a movie star who like puts butts in seats? No. Not yet anyways. I think with the right thing, he can help, but yeah, you're right. You look at 65, look at just some of the stuff that he's made, and it doesn't pop.
Nobody went to see.
Yeah.
House of Gucci underperformed. Last Duel, $10 million on that. The Dead Don't Die, $6 million on that. Black Klansman, a Spike Lee film, $49 million. Logan Lucky, $27 million. Patterson, $2 million. Silence, $7 million. An underperforming film, Silence. So yeah. Other than Star Wars.
But as any other actor, even like, I don't know that any other actor has worked with a better list of filmmakers than him in the last 5 years or something. Like,
right.
I mean, he's
but
working with
the thing no one's writing is like, he's worked with all these great filmmakers, but 9 times out of 10, those films are underperforming and not doing well at the box office.
But is that really his fault, or is it because the films themselves aren't great? You know,
that's a fair point. But I mean, you can be stained by a number of things. All right, how do we want to do this Michael Mann thing? Go ahead.
I just want to hear your top 5 Michael Mann movies. I mean, it doesn't need to be a draft. It doesn't need to be a competition. I'm just like, let's trade one for one. What do you think is the best Michael Mann movie?
We're going to start from 1 and go to 5. Is that what you want to do?
Okay. We can start at 5. That's fine.
All right. My number 5 is Thief.
Yeah.
I love that movie. If you guys haven't seen it, it's a quintessential 1980s Michael Mann movie with James Caan and Tuesday Weld, the great Robert Prosky as a really ruthless villain. It is beautifully shot. It has that 80s synthesizer soundtrack score there. And the story is a pretty brutal story. It kind of has a 70s vibe to it, even though it's set in the 80s. And I think it's one of the greatest performances of James Caan as an actor. I've always enjoyed, but hasn't always gone the next level with his work. But I thought he was great in this movie, and I thought Michael Mann did an incredible job directing this one.
So as of last night, I would have had Thief at 5 as well.
Oh,
but last night I did a double header. Did you see what I tweeted? The movies that I watched for the first time?
I did not see that. No, I was off Twitter last night.
I watched 2 movies last night for the very first time. One was After Hours.
Okay.
And one was The Last of the Mohicans.
Damn right. Damn right.
I've never seen before. And I think now that I've seen it, I have to give Last of the Mohicans the 5 spot. It was good. I didn't love it. Again, I don't love Thief. Like I like Thief. I think Mohicans would bump it out. Just the scope of it, the cinematography, the score. I like what Michael Mann was doing here.
Yeah. All right. Fair. So your 5 is Last of the Mohicans.
Yes.
All right. So then my 4 is The Insider, which Jeff Sneider. Jeff Snyder introduced me to The Insider at the DGA, which I appreciated. Yeah.
Wait, what? Did we see The Insider at the DGA? Really?
Yeah. Remember you had a plus 1. I'd never seen it. And you were like, you're going to fucking show up at this time and you're going to fucking see this movie with me.
Holy shit. Oh, maybe I do. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Holy. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So that's 4 on your list. All right.
Yeah. 4.
All right.
What's your
my 4 is Collateral.
Okay. That's so low. Okay.
See, oh yeah, I think you're crazy. Yeah, Collateral I think is pretty great. I mean, Cruise is amazing, and Jamie Foxx he gives an underrated performance.
I agree.
Right? He kind of gets overshadowed by Cruise here. I love this depiction of Los Angeles, the soundtrack. This is a fucking cool movie.
Agreed.
Yeah, good shit.
And Jada Pinkett, I think, is damn good in the movie as well. Javier Bardem, fantastic cameo by him. And is it Ruffalo and Berg, right? They're the cops, aren't they? Ruffalo and Berg, who are the kind of yeah. So damn good movie. That is higher up on my list.
There's like so many good character actor turns in there. Who's the is it Barry Shabaka?
Oh yes, who plays the jazz musician?
Yeah, that guy's great.
He's so good. That scene is incredible. My number 3 is Last of the Mohicans. I've loved this movie since it came out in the 1980s. The soundtrack is in my top 10 scores ever. And I love Madeline Stowe. I have a massive crush on her, so it works for me on that level. Plus Russell Means. And then I actually got to see Michael Mann at the Egyptian introduce and speak about this movie for an hour, which was incredible. So I just love this movie. I always go back to this movie, and I think it's quietly one of the top 3 Daniel Day-Lewis performances as well. So so it's high up on my list.
Wait, what are the other 2? There Will Be Blood and
There Will Be Blood and what?
And Lincoln? Or
maybe Lincoln. I'm thinking Gangs of New York is, because I think that film is no good, but he is electric, man. So yeah. Those are the 3.
My 3 is Manhunter. I didn't expect Manhunter to necessarily be on your list.
It's number 6.
Manhunter to me is just like a fucking classic. I've seen it a zillion times. I love the vibe of that movie. I want to grow up to be William Peterson, although I'm probably older than him now. I love the Tangerine Dream score. The casting is brilliant. The kills are memorable. Like everything about this movie. I wish that I could have 3 number 1s, but I can't.
I think you could argue you're either a Thief person or a Manhunter person. Do you know what I'm saying? Like from 80s Michael Mann, you could argue. Yeah.
I definitely lean Manhunter there.
Because I like Manhunter, but I liked Hopkins' Lecter more than Brian Cox's. But I thought the killer in Manhunter was scarier than Ray Fiennes or anyone else in that.
Tom Noonan.
Yeah. All right, so my 2 is Collateral. I love that movie. Tom, I'm a Tom Cruise fan, so the fact that he went against type, like you were talking about, having comedians play a serial killer, who thought Tom Cruise could play so effectively and so well this kind of killer in the movie? Jamie Foxx, we talked about Jada Pinkett, everyone else. This is the lone wolf movie, and you have that shot in the movie. He's hanging a lantern on it, but it's absolutely the lone wolf movie, and I love this movie to pieces, man.
I've been corrected. I fucked up.
By who?
Drew Taylor wants to chime in and say the Tangerine Dream did not do Manhunter.
Oh, who did the score for Manhunter?
Credited to Michael Rubini and the Reds.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Thank you for correcting us, Drew.
Is there no Tangerine Dream on the soundtrack at all?
I'm going to take a look at that. What's your 2? Did you already say?
Apparently, he's right. I mean, I love that Prime Movers song. But anyways, and right, the Shriekback song, Colin Conth, that plays over the tiger scene. Oh, that's so good. Anyways, number 2 for me is The Insider. So we have The Insider and Collateral flipped on our list.
Yes.
The Insider is a fucking stone cold masterpiece. I mean, it gets me every time I watch it. Just this guy who had the world by the balls, really. I mean, had a happy family, 2 healthy little, or 1.5 healthy little girls at least, and was making bank. But he couldn't stomach what he was seeing, and how his bosses just lied about it, and he gave up everything. The man sacrificed everything for the sake of society, and you just don't see a lot of whistleblowers like that come forward these days. It's an incredible story. I love the 60 Minutes element of it with Pacino. I think it's Russell Crowe's greatest performance of his career, like bar none. And again, wish that I could have multiple number ones.
Yeah, I did like the movie. It was great to see it. Unfortunately, I don't love it as much as you do, so I don't turn it on. But I can't deny that it's one of the greatest Michael Mann films ever. And I think our number ones are the same, brother. We did a commentary for this Once Upon a Time. Heat, right?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, come on.
You want to go back? No. Yeah, Heat is the shit.
Yeah, Heat is the one. We did a 3-hour, I think a 3 or 2.5 hour, 4 hour, 40-minute commentary for Collider way back when. It was a fun commentary to sit with Jeff and watch the movie together and have interactions as we were watching. Because I love that movie, and it grows. Like, it's gotten better as you've gotten older as a film viewer. There's more that you pick up, right? When I see these 20-year-old movie critics try to tell me that these films about older men, that they don't like them, they don't get them, they don't understand the hype. Of course, because you're a 23-year-old fucking movie reviewer. What the fuck do you know? What have you lived about your life that you would understand what these people are going through? These movies, there's a reason movies grow for you as you get older, and you revisit them as you get older, and you're like, oh, wow. That's just cool. I didn't see that. Yeah, because you've lived your life, you've experienced shit. You understand, you can grasp the nuance of these performances and what the movie's trying to say. And Heat is one of those. It just gets better and better every time you watch it. And even the Pacino shit works, even though he's doing his hoo-ha shit. It works within the framing of the movie. And great character actors across the board, man. Wes Studi, who, of course, in Last of the Mohicans as well, being a part of this. McKelty Williamson, Val, Ashley Judd, Zaria, all these people decorate the film. Tone Loc doesn't even stand out in the fucking movie, and that's saying something, John. What are you doing? What is wrong with you? I can't hear you at all. No, I can't hear you.
It sure is, John.
Jesus Christ.
I was having microphone issues.
I'm just gonna hire a technician to go in there and fucking redo your entire apartment so that you can do this show. It's driving me insane. All right. Anything more to say about Michael Mann?
Yes, Heat
Okay,
again. I'm not done just glowing about Heat. I think this movie's so amazing, and I kind of hope that he never makes the prequel, because I do worry that it will cast a pall upon its legacy.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Don't waste my motherfucking time.
But you can't have my TV. Yeah, to round out the list for me, Manhunter 6, Public Enemies at 7, Miami Vice at 8, Ali, and then Ferrari and Black Hat tied as the 2 misfires on his resume. Ali is only because of Will Smith. I think the film itself is. Oh, and John Voight.
Ali's okay. Ali would probably be 7 on my list.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I like Miami Vice. It doesn't 100% work, but it's so fucking cool and badass that enough of it works for me, even though those two guys look like they'd rather shoot each other than work together throughout the movie. Which
I just think that movie should have been like special, and it wasn't. So
I
dock it a few extra points.
I think that's fair. I think it's 100% fair. All right, see where we at. We're at the hour mark, Jeff. Let's take another break here, man. And we'll get into some more stuff on the other side, answer some of your Streamlabs super chats as well. And we'll call it a day. We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
Year.
Call it a year, right? We'll wrap back right after this.
Call it a fucking year.
By the way, a shout out to Drew Taylor. I didn't know he was watching the show. Drew is an excellent writer. If you guys haven't read his pieces throughout the years, he's written for a number of websites, and I don't always agree with Drew. I got to be fair, but I like the way Drew writes. And so if you guys haven't read Drew's stuff, do yourselves a favor and do that. I don't know who he's writing for.
Drew's a good guy who knows his shit and does the work. So it's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's why I enjoy reading his stuff. All right, where are we going off to next, brother man?
What else is on the list?
All right, what do you think about Lionsgate buying eOne? They did this without a majority of the big properties like Transformers, Peppa Pig, and these other things. Does this mean anything? Is this Lionsgate trying to get into the content community a little bit more?
They're in the content community. I mean,
like, maybe a streaming service down the road for themselves. Is this why they picked up all this content that they'd be able to use? Or what do you think the logic is here?
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of IP. It makes the library stronger, and thus it makes Lionsgate more attractive as a, potential sales target. If someone else wants to come in and buy Lionsgate, now they're getting more assets and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it
makes it more appealing.
They only bought it for $500 million. And it was the deal. Hasbro acquired eOne there for $3.8 billion back in 2019. So clearly it's like one of those houses you buy and you're like, oh shit, I'm going to take such a loss on this. But this adds 6,500 film and TV titles to Lionsgate's existing library, with titles that include Yellow Jackets, The Rookie, and Naked and Afraid. But they will not have, as I said, Transformers, Power Rangers, Peppa Pig, Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, My Little Pony, Clue, and Play-Doh are not part of the deal. And sadly, Lionsgate laid off 10% of eOne's workforce in preparation for this merger earlier this month. So we'll see what happens as a result. I don't really trust Lionsgate to make a lot of good movies. So maybe that's why eOne was like, yeah, we'll sell you some of this, but we're not giving you our big stuff because we got deals with bigger studios to do better things or better quality things with our stuff. What else here that we got on the list? Christopher. Oh, we got to talk about this, man. Christopher Landon leaving Scream 7. This broke after we'd done our show last week. Jeff, your thoughts on this over the weekend?
Did you just get a text or something? Because I just got a text saying that we need to talk about the same thing.
No, I did not get a text. No, what I was looking at our list here. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so we had it on the list. I forgot. Yeah, it's the top story in the newsletter tonight, as of now, because I haven't really addressed it yet.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: do you think that he definitely quit, or do you think he was fired? Because reading his statement, he's like, I formalized my exit, kind of thing. Like I have formally exited, but it's like, did that mean that you left, or did it mean that you got let go?
I think the bigger question is, when did he decide to do this? Was it the Melissa Barrera situation? Was it when it was conveyed to him that they thought the Jenna Ortega thing was going to be a long shot? To bring her back? When did he decide he was going to leave the property? Because Jeff, we've covered stories on this show where directors claim, hey, I just found out, but they really knew months ago that they were off a project and they're trying to save face. So
right.
Made it seem as if this had been in the works for a bit. So
he said it happened weeks ago. He said it happened weeks ago. But I feel like the way that it was interpreted, and to be honest, I interpreted it myself this way, was that he quit, that he walked out. He was like, this is too much, and like not the movie that I signed on to make, and both my leads are gone, and like this isn't how I want my time at the Scream franchise to be. So it made it seem like he quit. However,
yes.
Do you think that he definitely did, like, or because he sort of, when that whole thing happened with Melissa Barrera, and he kind of threw up his hands and was like, "Well, it wasn't me," like, could Spyglass have been like, you know what, like, you didn't need to make a statement, you didn't need to say, anything, so like now you're out too, like, I just don't know.
Yeah, it could be that he went to the studio and said, "Guys, I'm not. This is not what I signed up for." And the studio was like, "Just hold on. We're going to figure it out. We're going to put this together." And then when the social media thing blew up and people started blaming him for firing Melissa Barrera, maybe that was for him like, "Okay, dude, I'm getting out of here."
He walked.
Yeah, that's when he was like, no
So
matter what you feel like
you walked. You feel like he walked instead of
I
like
think
the
he
studio.
was. Yeah, I think he was walking out the door. They stopped him at the door. He was maybe hesitating to get back in the room. He started to turn towards the room, and then something else blew up, and he was like, "Nope, I'm out of here. Fuck this," and walked out of the room. That's what I think happened.
Why are we getting all this storm talk in the middle of our Scream conversation here in the chat, guys? Focus on the topic at hand. We are talking about Scream. Could it have been that he walked because it's like, well, what else do you do? Like, Nev Campbell is gone, Courtney Cox is gone,
right?
The Carpenter sisters are gone. Like, what else do I have to work with here? I don't really want to be responsible for a rebuild, if you will, right?
I'm not hanging this on Hayden Panettiere. No offense, but
and that's the question: is where do you take the Scream franchise?
Well, you start all over again. I think you start all. You reboot it completely. Like,
okay,
completely.
So now let's have that conversation.
Okay,
you reboot it completely.
Yes.
Is the lead Sidney Prescott, or is the lead another character entirely?
The lead is completely a whole new character. Start all over again. A new town, new character, new group of people.
Is there a copycat, or like has Ghostface terrorized past towns, or is it just like no completely fresh?
It's all whole new universe, and it's a whole new. The first time launching it, what do they call it? A requel or whatever? Like, do all that because they were meta about it in that Scream 6 or Scream 5. They were meta about it. So I think that's what you do. You start all over again. You bring in all new young actors who are like, maybe you have a really good casting director who knows how to find these people and get them, because nobody knew Nev until Scream. So you find a good casting director who's going to find these young actors, put them in these positions, get some veteran actors around them, and then get a great screenwriter who loves the Scream franchise to understand how to walk the line with making a couple of allusions to the hardcore fans while also creating a new mythology within this approach to Scream. That's what I think.
I mean, listen, you're probably not wrong. That is probably the answer, is just start fresh, wipe the slate clean, enough of the Prescott saga, enough of Woodsboro, enough of the Carpenters, and just, move along. I have been advocating for some time that, like, and maybe you'd say otherwise because Ghostface is the one constant of this franchise, but I think Ghostface needs a makeover. I think Ghostface could use a different mask. I mean, it seems like the knife is the same in every movie, just like, I don't know, something different as far as Ghostface goes, but a couple of other things. You said they need to find another young cast and surround them with veterans.
Yeah.
I know that that's who these movies are for, teenagers, but does it have to be teenagers? Do we have to have teenagers being the victims, being the killer usually, or, do we need that? Could we change the focus of the series a little bit? And I do have a pitch, and I don't know if I'm going to include it tonight in the newsletter or not, but it is to continue with the original mythology, but in a bit of a different way. Okay. Do you want to hear it?
Sure. I've always want to hear your pitches. Go ahead.
Okay. This is how you do it.
Okay.
You go back to Steve and Casey. You go back to Drew Barrymore and her boyfriend, who are murdered in that opening scene.
Okay.
Now, I didn't even know this when I came up with my pitch. I only found it out later, but Steve actually has an older brother. And he actually cameos as a doctor in Scream 4.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, Casey is an only child, but to me, it's like you could retcon that. And I'm like, what if Casey's sister is sort of the lead of this new franchise, and her family, she's a mother now, and her family starts to be terrorized, and it turns out to be Steve's brother, because there's a whole backstory with Casey, Steve, and Stu Macher, because Casey broke up with Stu to date Steve, and maybe Steve's family feels like, well, shit, if he had just never dated this girl that I told him not to date, I told him she was bad news, maybe he'd still be alive right now. The only reason Steve's dead is because he was dating Casey. So now I'm going to hold her family responsible.
Right.
I could fucking do this all day.
Yeah, but you're still living in the world that they've already established.
Yes, but it's a pivot from the Prescotts, and it goes to the Beckers and the Orts.
Yeah, but then you give the fans a reason to be like, where's Sydney? Where's Courtney Cox? Where's this? Where's that? Then they're going to be like, I have expectations because you're keeping it within the world that you've already presented to me for 7 or 6 installments. And I'm saying walk away from it completely so that you don't have to adhere to that old ass mythology.
And that's fine.
Create your own mythology. But I hear I'm sure more people would want to do what you're doing, than
I'm just saying, if you didn't want to completely reboot fresh and you wanted to have some ties to it, but you couldn't, you want to leave the door open or for some return of some kind for the other two, but not center it around them.
Right.
Like a lot of people will say, oh, go to Maureen Prescott or something like that. I don't know that that's the answer, but I do like something about the Casey and Steve of it all.
But here's I like Dion makes an excellent point here. Wasn't the point of Scream the rules of horror? Absolutely. Horror has changed, though, so much over the last 2 or 3 decades. So you could argue there are new revamped rules of horror that work. Look at Ari Aster. Look at all these other people who have come on with their versions of horror films. Are there new rules of horror that you could put into this new mythology of Scream that could work? I think could be real interesting.
I think it's about old people being like, what happened to the goddamn rules? There are no rules anymore. The kids these days.
That's true.
The other way to go, and this is a longer shot, but remember Henry Winkler? Principal Himbry?
Yes, I do.
He probably had a family who probably holds those teenagers responsible.
Yeah.
And wants to punish them.
I mean, he shot his own son in Barry, so I could see that whole thing being a part of this. I can see him doing some interesting stuff in the Scream franchise.
Anyways, we can move on from the Scream 7. So
All right.
Look for it more in the newsletter tonight.
I think I'm going to clip this out. There's no way I'm not clipping this out.
I should be going viral for this. I mean, I should be the writer of Scream 7. And that's the other thing. They should hire a female writer and a female director. 100%. I do think that this movie could use, this whole series could use a feminine touch. But got to get James Vanderbilt out of there. If Landon's not coming back, if none of these people are coming back, we need a new voice. Yeah. Okay. His voice has been awful these last 2 movies, which I have hated. I'm not shy about that. James Vanderbilt, you will always have my respect for writing Zodiac. The poster's right over there. It's a genius film, a masterpiece, but you are not the guy to be writing Scream movies. I am so sorry.
Well, there you go. Yeah. And there's a lot of great new horror writers who are writing fantastic horror films over the last few years. It'd be interesting to open the door to see. Yeah, and I agree with you. Female voice, absolutely. And female points of views are regardless of what you see the toxic incels do their videos off of, female points of views are becoming more and more accepted in our world. And the female participation in everything is becoming more and more accepted in our world. So it makes sense to tell that horror story through the female perspective in terms of screenwriting and directing. So yeah, I'm on board with that, Jeff, for sure.
The Ringer called it the year of the girl.
Yeah. I should say
Barbie, Taylor Swift.
Women's soccer. I mean, look at women's soccer. They have sold out stadiums.
God always takes it to soccer.
I'm just saying the Women's World Cup, the women's soccer, they are exploding. The WNBA has never had higher viewership than they have now. Women are becoming a bigger and stronger part of our society, and there's no use denying it anymore. Make all your angry male YouTube videos that you want. It's irrelevant. Women are becoming a bigger part of society. Here, who's the big challenger right now for Trump? Nikki Haley, a female Republican. So give me a break. It's happening. Get on board, All right, where do you want to go to, Jeff? Do you want to do TV shows? You want to do anticipated movies? What are you feeling?
TV show. Oh, boy. Let's save the anticipated movies. Maybe
okay. For what, next week?
save that for next
Okay,
week's
sure.
segment show and just close it out here? It's 5:20. Do another 10 minutes about
Yeah.
either our favorite TV shows. Yeah, you want to do that?
Yeah. Did we talk about Obama's movies list? Do we need to say anything more than you already referenced with Color Purple, or you think any more about
I
that?
think I made my point with I don't know. What do you want to say about it? What do you want to say?
I think it's once again, and this is why I love Barack Obama. The man is one of the coolest people on the planet, and I don't care if you hate him, fuck off. I love his points of views on sports and movies, and I think he has a very well-rounded point of view on both. And when you look at his favorite movies of the year, you see the things that he is interested in, and he's got a nice swap from Past Lives to Air to The Color Purple now to Holdovers. He is absolutely a movie fan. He is a movie fan, and I appreciate that. So I like that we have a president like this. No one else is president. Like, nobody cares about Clinton's or George Bush's or, God forbid, Trump's. Nobody gives a shit about anybody else. But President Obama's list gets reported on, and there's a reason for that, and that's because these websites do actually appreciate that he is a movie fan, and you can tell by his choices. So that's what I would say to that. So
I want to know which movie would fall off the list if he's making room for The Color Purple. I mean, not that you have to stick to 10, but I mean,
yeah. Well, let's take. He's got The Holdovers, Blackberry. The fact that Blackberry is on his list, like 10 people saw Blackberry, man. Oppenheimer, American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, which is of course a foreign film. Monster, Past Lives, Air, Polite Society, 1001. I think either Polite Society or 1001 falls off for The Color Purple. I thought Polite Society is a damn good. It's on Peacock. Indian film. It's pretty badass Indian action film, but I think that would probably fall off for The Color Purple, I would imagine. Or yeah,
I'm just shocked he saw Monster.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I do like how he plugged his three movies. What if there was a fourth that they made that didn't get mentioned?
Yeah. What about this Twister story, man? Do you like the Glen Powell said that it's not a sequel or a reboot?
Yeah, I mean, I told you I've read the script.
Yeah,
I read the script for Twisters. I may do a script report on it soon. Especially with Glenn talking about it a bit more. But yeah, it has nothing. There's no connections as far as I know to the original movie in the script.
Wow.
I think that was initially a consideration. Having bring back Helen Hunt and maybe that could still change. Who fucking knows? If they make Helen Hunt Daisy Edgar Jones's mother or something, fucking knows. But yeah, as far as I know, I think it is a standalone.
Okay, all right. Look, we got a number of Streamlabs and Super Chats, Jeff. Do you want to just stop here and jump into those, or do you want to do your TV? Do we want to jump with TV real quick?
I got a little bit of time. We can do the Super Chats.
All right, let's do some
plugs. I'm sorry.
Let's do some Super Chats, and then we'll finish out with our best TV shows of 2023. Not all of them, but certainly some to tease them. All right, Michael says the 166 million is for both parts of Rebel Moon, right?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. The Den of Nerds, what's up? Den of Nerds Live says, nah, he right. Let that Ray movie go into oblivion. Love you guys, though. Nah, you guys are foolish. Nonsense. Bloodshot says, what is going on with Gareth Evans' Havoc? Didn't they film this movie like 2 years ago? Jeff, do you know anything about this?
Yes, I think Havoc has been on my most anticipated list for like the last 2 years. It will be on it again this year. It will be out in 2024. I'm quite confident. What is going on with it? I mean, I heard that I told you guys about the haircut rumor, right?
Go ahead.
It was
someone got their haircut before they finished shooting. Is that what it was?
Yes, it was they shot the movie and then they had to do like kind of extensive reshoots, but like everyone came back with like different haircuts, and like they had to spend a lot of money on visual effects to change everybody's haircuts back, and like Gareth Evans, I think, was pretty upset about how much it was costing, and like it didn't make. I don't know, but it's hopefully it'll be out next year. I can't imagine why it wouldn't be.
Well, Terry says, to go with your newsletter, Jeff, one of the best songs used for a movie trailer is still to this day AC/DC's Back in Black for Lilo and Stitch, which is kind of funny.
I will go watch the Lilo and Stitch trailer after this because I don't know what you're talking about. But yes, I did this list in 2014 and 2015. I did it last night on the newsletter, which is the best trailer songs of the year. I'm a trailer fanatic. I watch every trailer that's released, and I pay attention to, which use popular music, to help sell the movie and what songs they use. And I think it's trailers are an art unto themselves.
Agreed.
And that's why I put Saltburn at number one. I thought that initial teaser, which was set to M83's remix of a Block Party song, I thought that was like brilliant.
There you go. Brandon saying, going into 2024, I have to admit I'm starting to miss the old days when a big movie comes out and you're forced to park at the very end of the parking lot. I hope there can be a surge in attendance in the year to come. Yeah, Jeff. Did we have we had a couple of $1 billion movies this year, but not as many as we've had in the past. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't think Disney delivered one, which is like a real shock, right?
Yeah.
That was like the big kind of surprise this year. I think box office is going to take a hit overall next year. I mean, there are certain movies that could break out, especially with less competition, right? There's less big, huge blockbusters coming around the corner every week or two. Then some of these movies are going to play in theaters longer, and they'll probably end up making a little bit more money than they might have otherwise if there was more competition. But in general, the overall box office will definitely be down next year. There's just so many fewer movies. I think last year there was something like, I forget, but yeah, it's definitely going to go down a bit.
The domestic box office this year was up 21% over 2022 with nearly $9 billion total. But as you said, Jeff, it's expected to fall by 11% to around $8 billion next year. And because there are a number of holes in the schedule without big movies, the weekends of January 26th, March 15th, May 31st, October 11th, December 6th, and December 27th all currently have no wide releases planned at all. The only weekend without one in 2023 was New Year's Eve weekend, which is about to arrive. So, so it could be interesting. Could be very, very interesting when we see the box office numbers by the end of the year next year for sure. Let's see what else we got here. Wiley OFC, what's up, Wiley? He says, thanks for the show this year, guys. Loved it every week. Hyped for the Patreon. Yeah, we'll definitely have conversations, Jeff and I, about the Patreon, and we'll have an
maybe when I come visit you, we'll start it. We'll just figure that out.
There you go. Phil P says, a question from the top 10. Have you ever seen Heat? Yeah, I remember that episode. Very funny episode. Let's see. Parker says, I love you both. Hope you are well. Sincerely. What are your favorite Criterion releases? Roke, I'm still writing things for you and we'll send them your way after the new year. Jeff, any Criterion releases? Are you snooty like that, like me, or no? What's your thoughts there?
I'm not particularly snooty, no. I would say, I loved the fact that like Michael Bay has a couple of movies on Criterion.
Only on DVD, though. Only on DVD.
Okay, well, whatever. That's what I have. I don't have fucking Blu-rays. I got a few Blu-rays, but yeah, The Rock is a great one. Dazed and Confused is a great one, and then I will do The Vanishing, the original The Vanishing.
That's a great movie, The Vanishing. I think that was in one of the first lists of the top 10 with Matt Nost and I, The Vanishing. I had just seen it on IFC and put it on my list. Yeah, this is my entire Criterion, or not entire, but this is some of my Criterion collection. I have more out in the living room, but the Zatoichi one that you see there, that's an incredible compilation of the best of the Zatoichi movies, Bruce Lee's compilation. And I love the La Bamba one, but the Citizen Kane one is incredible. The Princess Bride one is fantastic. And there are a few foreign ones like Tokyo Story that I really enjoy. So yeah, those are some good ones that have come around over the last few weeks.
Didn't name the one I thought you were going to, John.
Which is what?
Seven Samurai.
Oh yeah. Well, that one's. Oh, that's Yojimbo. I've got Seven Samurai here, but Yojimbo and Sanjuro are currently taking the front face right now. But yeah, I loved Seven Samurai. That's a fantastic fucking movie. Mike Joy says, thanks to a great 2023. Here's to an even better 2024 for the hot mic. What's a bold prediction you have for 2024 movie-wise? Jeff, what's your bold prediction for 2024?
I think it's just, I think it'll be that Steve McQueen's Blitz wins Best Picture.
Wow. Okay. That Kraven the Hunter will be the greatest of all those films that have come out from Sony that are Spider-Man less. I will say that right now. And I don't think Furiosa is going to be as big of a box office hit as Fury Road was. I just have a weird feeling about that movie. Just let me throw that out. But Aaron Smith said, glad you both agree with my brilliant and original pitch. Evil Dead 1920s coming to theaters soon. Lou said, you guys are the best. Love the strong commentary / criticism and down with the negativity / hatred from fandom. Best of luck to you guys in 2024. Oh, thank you, Lou. I am Two Fly Cam says, LOL, Daisy Ridley seems lovely, but I would rather watch paint dry than see her or anyone else from those dreadful sequels, except maybe for Babu Frick. Also, Rocha, you must have been high or inebriated to say Rebel Moon was pretty good. Movie was awful. No. I said I enjoyed what it did for what it was. I liked it. I liked the movie. Yeah, there are some missing plot holes and things you can talk about with character development. But overall, I enjoyed the film for what it was and what Zack Snyder was trying to do for me. So sorry you felt it was awful, but then you're a Seahawks fan. So how can I trust your opinion? Gentleman Scientist says, Happy New Year, Jeff and John. Do you have any New Year's resolutions? I resolve to eat more vegetables and less red meat. Peace. Jeff, did you have any New Year's resolutions? Do you even do resolutions, Jeff?
Not really. I'm not very good at keeping them. I would like to be able to support myself in the new year. So subscribe to my newsletter. There's not been a ton of income the last few months.
Yeah, for me, it's just walking more. That's it. Walking more. And somehow working even harder on the channel. Shorts, creating pitch decks for the different shows to try to get more advertisers. Basically trying to level up the Outlaw Nation. It's going to be changing the name. The Outlaw Nation is going to be changing in the next couple of months. But yeah, that's pretty much one of my. Oh yeah.
So it's funny because I brought up like you and Christian and Perry and Campia and Stuckman and Jeremy Johns. I brought up your 6 YouTube channels and I showed them to someone and they were like, well, all these people have like good like branding, right? They have like, you know, certain colors picked out and it's like this guy, John Rocha, I don't need to know anything about him, but he's a cowboy. Right, that's his persona. So, like, you know, like that tells me his vibe, and like you need to find that. I'm like, I don't fucking know about brand. I'm the fucking Sneider. Like, what am I supposed to do? You know, I don't know what my goofy cartoon should be because it's not going to be me holding like a lightsaber or something. So it's like,
oh, okay.
It's shit like that I'm thinking about. So I'm surprised when you say that you're moving away from Outlaw Nation because I do like that branding for you, but maybe you feel like can only take you so far. I don't know.
Yeah, because the Outlaw was Schmodown and Schmodown's over, man. And
right.
I see a lot of publicists have said to me like, "What does Outlaw Nation mean?" It doesn't refer to anything movie or entertainment wise. So I'm trying to find a name that works for me. That isn't my name, but may default to just the John Rocha channel at the end of the day. But we'll see. I'm still hammering that out. Samo says, what is the chances of Barbie winning Best Picture? I feel like it has a chance. I don't think it has any chance, Jeff. Do you?
To win Best Picture?
Win Best Picture.
Yeah, I don't think it really has a chance either. I know it's obviously going to do well with the nominations. People like the movie, but like, I really think that the Academy is going to fucking hand its Best Picture Oscar to Barbie in a year with Oppenheimer and some others. No.
Yeah, when you look at Oppenheimer, Anatomy of a Fall, American Fiction, these other films, I know Barbie is weighty, but I also I just don't see the Academy doing that. I just don't. What did you think of Ruben's comments about Barbie? Ruben, was it Ostland? What did he say? What he said about Barbie? Did you agree with him, or do you think he was a little bit off base?
I forget what the actual comments were, but I remember he didn't like it.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, some people have definitely come out and criticized it and everything.
Yeah. He said I didn't like it. And he said that it was, what did he say? One of the anyway, go ahead. Keep going. I want to make sure I get the quote correct of what he said.
His movie, The Entertainment System is Down, apparently won't start shooting until the top of 2025. So he needs another year in prep and whatnot.
Ruben Ostlund is the guy who directed Triangle of Sadness, which is one of the most unsettling films of the year. But he said that Barbie it perfectly describes the madness of our time. A toy manufacturer, Mattel, finances their own film and buys off an American auteur filmmaker to make their very old-fashioned dolls more presentable. It's completely crazy, in my opinion. It's cynicism disguised as optimism. The film is more about the virtual world than the real world. It's about statements, quotes, constantly taking a stand against something, etc. I didn't like it. One of the positives about capitalism is that as there is competition, we create more products. So, but a film like Barbie pirates this process by putting a ton of money into marketing, and there's barely any word of mouth. I think he's wrong about that.
I think he's wrong about a whole bunch of things here, other than like okay, it doesn't have to be for you. Like, this is why you, Ruben Östlund, were not approached to direct the Barbie movie.
Right, exactly. Can you imagine Ruben Östlund's Barbie? Oh, please. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. Existential as hell. All right, that's all the Streamlabs super chats. Jeff, do we want to talk TV shows? You want to wrap it up and do that next week? What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, we can save it for a segment next week. We've gone long enough.
We'll save it for a segment next week, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. And thanks for all the Streamlabs super chats. Thanks for the lively chat. And thanks, everybody, for coming aboard the Hot Mic train. When Jeff and I started the show, we didn't know what it was going to turn into. We didn't know if people were going to like it. But here we go. And you guys have really enjoyed the show. And I'm very proud of the show. I'm very proud of the work Jeff and I do on the show. And we're going into 2024 with more ideas and more things we want to do with the show. So stay tuned for that as well. And we hope you have a wonderful and happy and safe New Year. Please be careful. Be safe out there. I know you think you're invincible, but you're not. So be safe out there when you're celebrating your New Year's for sure. Or maybe you're staying at home. Be cool staying at home. Jeff, another fun show. Please let people know where they can find you, brother.
The newsletter, theinsnyder.com. I got 2 more nights of free posting, and then next week I'm going to flip that switch. It's probably going to be $99.99 a year. I know, not cheap, but you know what? You guys have been great. You give us $10, $20, $50 here, these super labs and stuff from week to week. And it's like, I'm just asking for $99 for the year. You will get an email from me just about every day, every weekday. There may, in fact, be an option to for half off, and you get like a weekly email that sort of rounds up the best of the week in the Snyder or something like that. I'll figure it out. I got to see how flexible Beehive is with all these plans and whatnot. But yeah, that's where I'm taking my energies in the new year, and hopefully launching a YouTube channel once I study under the tutelage of John Rocha, who does such a great job and has really built this channel into a powerhouse on YouTube. So congrats to you. Thank you to all of you who have been watching. And I wish you all a very happy New Year.
Absolutely. One last super chat. Wayne Edwards says, I just saw American Fiction on Saturday. Loved it. After seeing that film, I'm not excited about seeing The Color Purple. Black trauma porn with song and dance. I might pass. No, Wayne, it's not that. It's not that. Go and see it. There is trauma, of course, but it's a much more uplifting film than the original film, which is, of course, based on the original novel. So it's an adaptation of the musical. It's not an adaptation of the Steven Spielberg film. Just making it clear here. So it's much more uplifting than you think.
I just don't see how seeing one movie and liking it makes you less excited to see another. I feel like that would make you even more excited to see another movie, hoping you could replicate that experience.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. This isn't 12 Days a Slave into Emancipation. Like it's not, you're not doing that. It's 2 different things. All right, guys. Thanks so much again. Take care of yourselves. Be well. And like I said, last week with Christmas, if you have some tough time over New Year's, put on our shows. We've got the podcast feed. You don't even have to watch our pretty faces. You can listen to any of our episodes on the podcast feed. Go and subscribe to the podcast feed if you haven't done that yet to support us here on the Hot Mic. And you can take us with you wherever you go on this holiday weekend because we love entertaining you. We hope we can put a smile on your face instead of and pick you up instead of you feeling down. All right, thanks so much, and we'll talk to you next time in 2024 with a brand new episode here of the Hot Mic. Peace until then.